Ryan's heart ached with every soft whimper the baby made. He could not imagine the fear, the confusion, and the cold the infant must have felt while sitting alone in that stroller. The city park, quiet and foggy, had turned into a place of both danger and salvation in a matter of minutes. Inside the ambulance, the paramedics checked the baby's vital signs carefully. The child's heart rate was slightly elevated, likely from fear but otherwise healthy. One of the paramedics, a kind-looking woman named Sarah, smiled reassuringly at Ryan and Lisa. "You found a lucky little one," she said softly. "The baby is cold and frightened, but everything looks okay. You did well getting here so quickly." Ryan nodded, his hands gripping Max's leash tightly. "Thank you," he said quietly. "We just want to make sure this little one is safe." Lisa's expression softened as she looked at the baby. "It's incredible," she whispered, "how someone could leave such an innocent child. But I'm glad they were found." Ryan's mind kept replaying the scene at the park, the abandoned stroller, the fog, Max's sudden freeze. That instinct, that moment, had likely saved the baby's life. He had always known that Max had exceptional senses, but today it had been undeniable. The dog's alertness had prevented a tragedy. Once the ambulance was ready to move, Ryan and Lisa followed to the hospital. The ride was quiet, except for the baby's occasional whimpers and the soft hum of the ambulance engine. Ryan kept glancing at the child, marveling at how small and delicate they were. The thought that someone had chosen to leave them behind, even for reasons he did not yet know, filled him with a mix of sadness and resolve. At the hospital, the staff quickly ushered the baby inside. Nurses and doctors worked efficiently, placing the infant in a warm, softly lit room. Ryan and Lisa watched as the child was given a gentle bath, dry clothes, and a cozy blanket. The baby's eyes, though still wide and wary, began to show signs of calm. A doctor named Michael approached Ryan and Lisa with a clipboard in hand. "The baby is stable," he explained. "No injuries, just mild hypothermia. They're going to be fine with proper care. You both did excellent work." Ryan nodded, trying to absorb the relief that washed over him. "Thank you, doctor," he said. "We just want to make sure someone keeps them safe." Michael nodded. "That's exactly what you did. We'll contact Child Protective Services to ensure the baby is placed in a safe environment while we search for the parents or guardians." As the doctors worked, Ryan and Lisa stepped outside for a moment. The morning sunlight was beginning to break through the clouds, casting long shadows across the hospital parking lot. Ryan's thoughts wandered back to the note they had found with the baby. The mother's words were desperate, honest, and full of hope that someone would save her child. Lisa looked at him, concern in her eyes. "Do you think she'll be okay?" she asked softly. "The mother, I mean. Leaving a child is never easy, even if she had no other choice." Ryan sighed, staring into the distance. "I hope so," he said finally. "Whatever struggles she's facing, she wanted her child to survive. That's all that matters right now. She trusted us, or someone, to protect her baby. And we did." Max sat at Ryan's side, his tail wagging slowly as if he understood the importance of their conversation. The dog's calm presence was reassuring, a reminder that life often depended on the instincts and loyalty of those willing to act. Once the baby was settled and under medical care, Ryan and Lisa returned to the police station. The streets of Springfield were now fully awake, filled with cars, commuters, and the normal bustle of daily life. But Ryan could not shake the morning's events from his mind. Every step, every sound, every whisper of the wind seemed to bring him back to the stroller, the fog, and the shivering infant. Back at the station, Ryan began filling out the report. Every detail mattered: the time they discovered the stroller, Max's reaction, the baby's condition, the note, and the steps they had taken to ensure safety. Lisa assisted, her pen moving quickly across the pages. They knew that documentation would be important, not just for official records, but in case the mother or child was found later. As Ryan wrote, he thought about the city around him. Springfield was not without its challenges, but moments like today reminded him why he had become a police officer. Protecting the vulnerable, responding to emergencies, and acting when others could not. That was the heart of his job. And Max, ever vigilant, had reminded him that instincts and loyalty could save lives in ways humans sometimes could not. The hours passed quickly. Ryan and Lisa reviewed security footage from the park, hoping to gather any clue about the mother or how long the baby had been there. Unfortunately, the cameras had not captured the stroller being left. There were no visible witnesses, no one who could provide an immediate explanation. The mystery of why the child had been abandoned remained, and Ryan felt the weight of responsibility deepen. During a brief break, Ryan looked at Max and smiled. "You saved a life today," he said softly. Max nudged his hand gently, his eyes bright and alert. Ryan chuckled quietly. "I don't think you need thanks, do you? You just know when something's wrong." Max wagged his tail in response, his presence a comforting anchor in the otherwise tense atmosphere. Lisa returned from speaking with the hospital staff. "They said the baby is warm and fed now," she reported. "The little one is starting to calm down." They even smiled a tiny bit when the nurse talked to them. Ryan's shoulders relaxed slightly. "That's good news," he said. "It's amazing how resilient these little ones can be, even after such a frightening start." As the day progressed, the officers received more calls, each one routine compared to the life or death urgency of the morning. But neither Ryan nor Lisa could shake the image of the abandoned stroller, the tiny shivering hands and the desperate hope of a mother they had yet to meet. Finally, as their shift came to an end, Ryan and Lisa returned to the park one last time. The morning fog had lifted, replaced by bright sunlight and the distant laughter of children playing. The stroller was gone, removed by authorities, but the memory of what had happened lingered. Ryan knelt briefly where Max had frozen earlier, running his hand along the grass. "This is where it started," he murmured. "This is where we made a difference." Max sat beside him, obedient and calm, his head resting lightly against Ryan's leg. It was a silent partnership, a bond forged through years of training, trust, and shared experiences. Ryan smiled, knowing that without Max, the outcome might have been very different. As the sun climbed higher, Ryan felt a mix of emotions: relief for the baby, concern for the mother, pride in his and Lisa's actions, and gratitude for Max's instincts. The morning had been a reminder of the fragility of life and the profound responsibility carried by those who choose to protect it. In the weeks to come, Ryan knew the story would reach the community. People would hear about the abandoned stroller, the quick response of the officers, and the sharp instincts of a loyal K9. But beyond the headlines, beyond the praise, Ryan knew the real story was the quiet courage of a tiny life that refused to be lost, and the unwavering dedication of those who had ensured that survival. That morning, the stroller had been a symbol of fear and uncertainty, but through the actions of Ryan, Lisa, and Max, it had become a symbol of hope, courage, and the enduring bond between humans and those who protect them. As Ryan finally left the park for the day, he looked down at Max. "Let's go home, buddy," he said softly. "Tomorrow is another day, but today we did something important." Max barked softly in agreement, tail wagging slowly, eyes still alert to the world around them. Together they walked toward the waiting squad car, leaving behind the park, the stroller, and the memory of a morning that had changed everything. Even as they drove back through the city streets, Ryan's mind remained with the baby. He knew that the infant's life had been forever altered by those first hours, and he hoped that somewhere, the mother could find comfort knowing her child was safe. For now, that was enough. The hospital was quiet now, the early rush of morning giving way to a calm, steady rhythm. Officer Ryan Thompson sat in a small waiting area, his hands clasped together, glancing occasionally at the nursery room where the baby rested under the watchful eyes of nurses. Max lay at his feet, ears twitching at every soft sound, ever alert. Lisa Harper joined him with a cup of coffee in her hand. "How's he doing?" she asked, nodding toward the nursery. Ryan exhaled slowly. "Calmer now, warm-fed and safe. But I keep thinking about the mother, whoever she is. I wonder what made her leave the baby like that." Lisa sat beside him, her expression thoughtful. "Sometimes people make choices when they feel they have no other option. Maybe she thought this was the only way to give the child a chance." Ryan nodded, though it didn't ease the tightness in his chest. He could not stop picturing the tiny hands clutching at the blanket, the wide, frightened eyes staring up at him in the foggy morning. That image had etched itself into his mind, a reminder of how fragile life could be and how quickly circumstances could change. Max stirred slightly and looked toward the nursery, letting out a soft whine. Ryan reached down to stroke the dog's head. "Yeah, I know, buddy," he said. "You remember, don't you? You sensed the danger before anyone else did. You saved a life today. Max nudged his hand gently as if acknowledging the praise but knowing the work wasn't finished. Meanwhile, Lisa had been speaking with the social worker assigned to the case, a kind woman named Emily. She returned with details. They're trying to locate the mother, Lisa explained. Apparently, she left some contact information with a neighbor's house, but it's not fully clear. The social worker is starting the search now. Ryan leaned back in his chair, rubbing his face. I just hope she's safe. Whoever she is, she clearly loves this child. That note, she left it hoping someone would help. That's not easy to do, Lisa nodded. I agree. But it also shows how strong she is. To recognize her limits and still think about the baby's safety. That's courage. Ryan fell silent for a moment, letting her words sink in. He realized that courage took many forms, not all of them visible in uniform or in battle. Sometimes it was quiet, hidden in the actions of those facing impossible choices, like the mother who had entrusted a stranger with her child. Max shifted, lying closer to Ryan, head resting lightly against his leg. The dog's calm presence offered a strange sense of reassurance. In many ways, Max understood the importance of trust and protection more than most people did. Ryan often thought that canine partners had a unique way of sensing not just danger, but the emotional weight of those around them. Hours passed slowly as the search for the mother continued. Ryan and Lisa took turns speaking with hospital staff, learning more about the baby's needs and ensuring that everything possible was being done to provide comfort and safety. The infant had begun to respond positively to gentle voices, cooing softly and gripping at blankets with tiny fingers. Ryan watched, his heart swelling with a protective instinct that went beyond his role as a police officer. This child had entered the world in a vulnerable state, and Ryan felt an unspoken responsibility to ensure that the baby's first days were filled with warmth, care, and security. At mid-afternoon, Emily, the social worker, returned with news. We've traced the neighbor who received the note, she said, holding a clipboard. They confirmed the mother is nearby, but she is scared and hesitant. She didn't want to get in trouble, and she's worried about her options. Ryan exchanged a look with Lisa. We need to make sure she knows the baby is safe, he said firmly, and that we're here to help, not punish her. Emily nodded. Exactly. She needs reassurance first. Then we can discuss her options and ensure both she and the baby are protected. Later, Ryan and Lisa accompanied Emily to a small apartment nearby. The neighborhood was quiet, modest, and unassuming. As they approached the door, Ryan could feel the tension in the air. Max walked at his side, silent and alert, sensing the emotional weight of the moment rather than physical danger. Emily knocked gently. It's Emily from Child Services. We need to talk to you about your baby, she said softly. The door opened slowly, revealing a young woman with tired eyes, her hair pulled back in a messy ponytail. She looked as if she had not slept well in days. Her hands shook slightly as she gripped the doorframe. The woman's voice was barely audible. Is my baby okay? She asked. Ryan stepped forward slightly, keeping his tone calm and gentle. Yes, he said. Your baby is safe, warm, fed, and being cared for. No one has harmed your child. We just want to make sure you're safe too. Tears filled the woman's eyes, and she sank to the edge of her doorway. I didn't know what else to do, she whispered. I wanted them to be safe. I thought, maybe someone would find them and help. Lisa knelt beside her, her voice soft and understanding. You did the right thing. You cared enough to leave a note to give your baby a chance. That takes courage. You're not alone now. The woman buried her face in her hands, sobbing quietly. Ryan felt a deep empathy for her. He understood fear, uncertainty, and the heavy weight of responsibility, even if in very different circumstances. Here was someone doing everything she could, despite feeling powerless, to protect a life smaller and more vulnerable than herself. Emily explained the next steps, ensuring the mother knew she would be supported. Legal procedures would be followed, but the priority was the safety and well-being of both the baby and the mother. The young woman nodded through tears, relief slowly replacing the panic in her eyes. Back at the hospital, Ryan and Lisa returned to check on the baby. The child had been fed again and was now wrapped in a soft blanket, drifting in a calm, contented sleep. Ryan knelt beside the crib, watching the baby's chest rise and fall gently with each breath. Max sat beside him, head tilted slightly, observing with quiet intelligence. Ryan smiled faintly. You understand, don't you, boy? That little one is safe because of us all. And soon, they'll have their mom back too. Max let out a soft whine, resting his head against Ryan's knee as if agreeing. Throughout the afternoon, Ryan thought about the events of the morning. The stroller abandoned in the fog, Max's freeze, the tiny shivers, the note. Every detail reminded him of how fragile life could be and how much courage it took to act even in desperate situations. He realized that bravery wasn't always loud or heroic in the traditional sense. Sometimes it was quiet, hidden in small acts that changed the course of someone's life forever. By evening, the mother had been reunited with her baby under careful supervision. She held the infant close, tears streaming down her cheeks, murmuring words of comfort and apology. Ryan and Lisa watched from a short distance, giving the pair privacy while ensuring safety. The bond between mother and child, fragile yet resilient, was clear. Ryan felt a swell of satisfaction and relief. The baby was safe, and the mother, though frightened and exhausted, was given the opportunity to heal and care for her child under guidance and protection. As they left the hospital, Ryan reflected on the morning and afternoon. He had witnessed fear, desperation, hope, and courage all in one day. Max walked at his side, tail wagging slightly, his presence a quiet reminder of loyalty and instinct. Ryan knew that life often hung in delicate balance, and that the actions of a few dedicated individuals could make all the difference. Lisa glanced at him. You okay? She asked. Ryan nodded, his gaze distant but steady. Yeah, just thinking about how small actions, instincts, and care can change lives. Today we didn't just respond to a call. We gave someone a chance at life. A real safe chance. Max let out a small bark, almost as if affirming Ryan's words. The bond between the officers and their K-9 was more than just professional. It was built on trust, shared experience, and a mutual understanding of responsibility. As the city lights began to glow in the early evening, Ryan and Lisa returned to their patrol car, knowing that the streets of Springfield were full of challenges, surprises, and moments requiring courage. But today had been a reminder of why they served: to protect, to respond, and to act when lives hung in the balance. And in the quiet hum of the patrol car, with Max resting his head on Ryan's lap, he felt a profound sense of purpose. The stroller in the foggy morning, the tiny shivers, the frightened eyes, those moments would stay with him forever. They were a reminder that life was precious, fragile, and worth protecting no matter the cost. Ryan started the car, glancing in the rearview mirror at Max, who gave a small, approving bark. Let's keep going, boy, Ryan said softly. The city needs us. But today we did something extraordinary. The following morning, the hospital was brighter and quieter than the day before. Sunlight streamed through the large windows, casting warm patterns across the floor. The tiny cries of the infant were replaced by soft coos and gentle breaths. Officer Ryan Thompson sat in a chair beside the nursery, watching Max rest at his feet. The dog's ears twitched at every sound, ever alert, as if sensing the baby's emotions and guarding them silently. The mother, a young woman named Emily, had spent the night in a nearby room, allowed under hospital supervision. Though exhausted and anxious, she was relieved to see her baby safe and warm. Nurses had given her time to bond with the child, to hold them close and to feel the soft, rhythmic heartbeat that had been missing during the night. Ryan observed quietly, seeing the relief and tenderness in Emily's eyes. The woman's hands shook slightly as she brushed a strand of hair from her face, her gaze never leaving the baby. He could see the layers of guilt, worry, and hope mingled in her expression. It reminded him how delicate human emotions could be, and how deeply actions, small or large, affected lives. Lisa Harper joined him, carrying a cup of coffee and a folder of notes from the social worker. How's our little one doing? She asked softly, glancing at the crib. Ryan smiled faintly. Better than yesterday. Fed, warm, and calm. Seems like the baby trusts Emily already, which is a good sign. Lisa nodded, her eyes scanning the room. It's amazing how quickly these little ones can sense safety. I think Max helped more than anyone realizes. That dog knew exactly what was happening the moment we found the stroller. Ryan chuckled quietly, scratching Max behind the ears. He's incredible. I've worked with dogs for years, but moments like yesterday remind me that instincts and loyalty are powerful tools. Max saved a life before any of us even fully realized the danger. Outside the nursery, Emily's thoughts were equally complex. She had spent years struggling to manage her life and care for her child under difficult circumstances. The past night's decision to leave the stroller, though painful, had been driven by fear and desperation. Seeing her baby now safe and calm under hospital care gave her a sense of relief she could hardly put into words. Nurse Sarah approached Emily with a warm smile. "Your baby has had a good night. No crying for hours, just some light fussing. You're doing well," she said. Emily nodded, tears forming in her eyes. I was so scared. I didn't know if anyone would find them in time." "You're not alone anymore," Sarah replied gently. "You made sure someone would help, and now you're here together. That's what matters." Meanwhile, Ryan and Lisa coordinated with Emily, ensuring she understood the steps for her baby's care and the resources available to her. Social worker Emily had explained the legal procedures and the support networks available for both mother and child. The young mother listened carefully, nodding and asking questions where she was uncertain. "Remember," Ryan said quietly, "we're here to make sure you and your baby are safe. No judgment. Just help and support." Emily looked up at him, gratitude evident in her expression. "Thank you," she whispered. I didn't know if anyone would understand why I did what I did." Lisa smiled softly. "We do. You acted out of love. That's what counts." For Ryan, those words resonated deeply. In his years on the force, he had witnessed countless situations of fear, anger, and misunderstanding. But moments like this reminded him of the true purpose of his work: to protect, to serve, and to act with compassion when lives were at stake. The morning passed with a slow rhythm. The baby slept in Emily's arms for long stretches, occasionally stirring but quickly soothed by her gentle voice and touch. Ryan and Lisa monitored from a short distance, making sure the mother had support but also privacy. At one point, Max quietly moved closer to the crib, resting his head near the baby's tiny blanket. Emily noticed the dog and smiled softly. "You're part of this too, aren't you?" she whispered. Max wagged his tail slightly as if acknowledging her words. The bond between human dog and child was quiet but undeniable. By midday, Emily's exhaustion began to show. Ryan gently suggested she rest while the nurses continued to care for the baby. "We'll make sure everything's fine while you take a short break," he said. Emily nodded, leaning back in the chair and closed her eyes, relief washing over her in a rare moment of calm. Lisa sat beside Ryan, observing the peaceful scene. "It's incredible," she said. "Yesterday, the stroller was abandoned in the fog. Today, the baby is warm, fed, and safe with their mother. That's quite a turnaround in less than 24 hours. Ryan nodded slowly, glancing at Max. "It is, and it shows that quick action, instincts, and care make a real difference. We can't save every life in every situation, but when we can, it's life-changing for everyone involved." As the afternoon unfolded, Emily began to share small pieces of her story. She spoke about her struggles, the moments of fear and doubt, and her love for her baby despite the impossible circumstances. Ryan listened quietly, never interrupting, letting her words flow freely. "You did what you thought was best," he said finally, after she had paused. "And you were right. Your baby is safe, and now you have support to help you care for them." Emily nodded, tears brimming. I just hope I can do everything right from now on. I don't want to put my child at risk again." "You will," Lisa reassured her. "You're already showing how much you care. You've learned that asking for help doesn't make you weak. It makes you responsible." The baby stirred and opened their eyes, small and curious. Emily smiled, brushing a soft hand across their tiny cheek. "Hello there," she whispered. "You're safe now. I promise." Ryan watched the scene unfold, feeling a deep sense of satisfaction. Days like these reminded him why he chose this career. Protecting the vulnerable, witnessing hope restored, and acting when others could not. These were the moments that defined everything he had worked for. Max let out a soft whine, nudging Ryan's hand as if prompting him to acknowledge the importance of what had happened. Ryan bent down, scratching behind the dog's ears. "Yeah, buddy. You helped save a life. And now this little one has a chance to grow, to laugh, to learn. All because of you and our team." Emily, meanwhile, held her baby close, feeling the warmth and comfort that had been missing during the night. She whispered quietly, "Thank you for keeping us safe." Though she spoke to the baby, her words carried meaning for everyone in the room. Hours passed. Nurses rotated shifts. Doctors checked on the baby, and Ryan and Lisa prepared to leave for the day, satisfied that both mother and child were in good hands. Max followed obediently, calm but alert, a constant presence of protection and loyalty. As they walked out of the hospital, the sun began to lower in the sky, casting long, golden shadows across the city streets. Ryan looked at Max, a smile playing on his lips. "We made a difference today, buddy. This child will have a future because of the right actions at the right time." Lisa nodded beside him, and sometimes the smallest decisions, like stopping at a stroller or listening to a note, can change everything. Ryan glanced at the park in the distance, the place where it all began. The morning fog, the abandoned stroller, the quiet shivers of a frightened infant, they were now memories, but powerful ones. Max wagged his tail gently, looking up at him with quiet understanding. The dog had been a silent hero, and Ryan felt grateful for the partnership that had made saving a life possible. As they returned to their patrol car, Ryan felt a mix of exhaustion and relief. Today had been a reminder that courage and care came in many forms. It wasn't always about action in the face of danger. Sometimes it was about being present, attentive and responsive to the smallest signs of distress. Emily would continue her journey with support, guidance, and a second chance. And for Ryan, Lisa, and Max, this day would remain a testament to the power of instinct, compassion, and the human and canine ability to protect and nurture life. Even as the city settled into the evening, Ryan knew the events of the morning and afternoon would stay with him forever. The stroller in the foggy park, the tiny shivers, the quiet courage of a mother and the loyalty of a canine, these moments were a reminder that life's fragility could always be met with hope, care, and action. And in that quiet reflection, Ryan smiled. For now, the baby was safe, the mother was beginning to heal, and the city had witnessed the quiet heroism of those willing to act when it mattered most. By the next morning, news of the abandoned stroller and the rescued baby had quietly spread through the neighborhood. People whispered about the heroic police officers and the loyal canine that had discovered the child. Yet despite the attention, the focus remained on the baby and the mother, Emily, who was now slowly beginning to regain her confidence. Emily had spent a night at home under supervision from child services, adjusting to the reality of caring for her infant without feeling overwhelmed. The little one was asleep in a soft bassinet, the room filled with a gentle warmth from the morning sun. She held the baby's tiny hand in hers, marveling at the fragile life she had fought so hard to protect. The doorbell rang gently, and Emily's heart skipped a beat. She wasn't expecting anyone. Carefully, she set the baby down and walked to the door. Outside stood Officer Ryan Thompson with Max at his side, and Lisa Harper holding a small package. "Good morning," Ryan said with a smile. "We thought we'd check in and make sure everything's okay." Emily felt a wave of relief. "Thank you. I didn't expect anyone," she said softly. "But I'm glad you came." Lisa held up the package. "This is from the community center nearby," she explained. "They wanted to make sure you have some essentials for the baby. Clothes, blankets, and a few toys. They heard about what happened and wanted to help." Emily blinked back tears, overwhelmed by the kindness of strangers. I don't know what to say," she whispered. "I feel so lucky, but I also feel guilty. I shouldn't have left them alone." Ryan shook his head gently. "You made a difficult choice in a desperate situation. What matters is that your baby is safe now, and that you're taking care of them. That's what counts." Max sat obediently by Ryan's side, tail wagging slowly. The dog's calm presence seemed to offer a quiet reassurance, as if saying everything would be all right. Emily reached out to stroke Max's head, smiling faintly. "You helped too, didn't you?" she murmured. Max nudged her hand gently, accepting her gratitude in his own way. After a few minutes, Emily invited them in. The officers and Max entered the small apartment, careful not to disturb the baby. They set the package down on a nearby table, filled with soft blankets, bottles, and warm clothes. Emily looked over each item, her heart filling with gratitude and hope. "I can't believe how much support there is," she said softly. "I thought I was alone in this, but I see now that people do care," Lisa smiled. "They do, and they want to help you succeed. You've already taken the hardest step, making sure your baby survived. Now it's about moving forward." For the next hour, they helped Emily organize the supplies and gave her tips for caring for the baby. from feeding schedules to gentle ways to soothe them. Ryan spoke carefully, not to overwhelm her, but to ensure she felt confident. "Trust your instincts," he said. "You know your baby better than anyone else. And remember, asking for help is a sign of strength, not weakness." Emily nodded, feeling a small spark of courage. For the first time in days, she felt like she might be able to handle the responsibility, not alone, but with support from people who genuinely cared. As they prepared to leave, Ryan knelt beside the baby's crib, looking down at the small face. "You've already been through a lot," he said softly. "But you're going to be safe, and you're going to have a chance to grow up happy and healthy." "That's what matters." Emily felt tears prick her eyes. "Thank you for everything," she whispered. "I don't think I could have done this without you all." Outside, Ryan and Lisa exchanged a quiet glance. Moments like these reminded them why they had chosen their profession, the quiet, unseen impact of caring, protecting and acting when lives were at stake. Max barked softly, wagging his tail as if understanding their thoughts. As the day progressed, Emily began to feel more comfortable moving about her apartment while the baby napped. She prepared a small meal and sang softly to her child, the sound of her voice filling the room with warmth and calm. It was a simple act, but for her it symbolized a return to normalcy, a small step in reclaiming control over her life. Later, Emily stepped outside for a short walk, carrying her baby carefully in a soft sling. The neighborhood seemed brighter now, more welcoming. Neighbors waved and offered small smiles, some approaching to ask if they could help. Emily felt a strange sense of connection to the people around her, a sense that she was not alone in her struggles. At the park where it had all begun, Ryan and Lisa returned to check the area. The fog was gone, replaced by the warm glow of late afternoon sunlight. Children played on swings and slides, laughter filling the air. It was a stark contrast to the tense, quiet scene of the previous morning. Max sniffed the grass where the stroller had been found, his ears perked. Ryan watched his canine partner carefully, marveling at the dog's awareness and instinct. "You remember, don't you?" he said softly. Max gave a small bark as if confirming. Ryan smiled. "We saved a life here, buddy. A small life that will grow because of what we did today." Lisa joined him, observing the busy park. "It's amazing how quickly life moves on," she said. "Yesterday, this place was silent and tense. Today, it's filled with joy and laughter. And somewhere nearby, a mother is learning how to care for her child." Ryan nodded, his gaze thoughtful. "Moments like this remind us why we do what we do. It's not always about arrests or reports. Sometimes it's about giving people hope, giving them a second chance and making sure the most vulnerable are protected." Back at Emily's apartment, the young mother had returned with a sense of calm determination. She fed her baby carefully, humming softly. She had begun to understand that mistakes didn't define her, and that asking for help was part of being a responsible parent. Each small step she took, preparing meals, soothing her child, organizing supplies, was a victory, a reinforcement of her growing confidence. The baby's eyes slowly closed as they drifted off to sleep, their breathing steady and calm. Emily looked down, brushing a soft hand over their forehead. "We're going to be okay," she whispered. "I promise." In the following days, community members continued to offer support. A local parent volunteer group dropped off extra supplies and toys, while neighbors shared helpful tips and guidance. Emily began to feel a sense of belonging and connection that she had never experienced before. Each act of kindness reinforced the idea that she was not alone, and that raising her child could be a journey filled with hope, not fear. Ryan and Lisa visited occasionally, checking in to ensure everything was progressing well. Max remained at Ryan's side, a quiet sentinel who reminded everyone of the day when instinct and loyalty had saved a life. Each visit strengthened the bond between officers, mother, child, and K9, a reminder that sometimes heroism was quiet, measured, and deeply personal. One evening, Emily sat in her chair, rocking the baby gently. The sunlight streamed through the window, painting the room in warm golds and soft shadows. She felt a quiet sense of peace, realizing that despite the fear and uncertainty of recent days, she had found strength within herself and support in the community around her. The baby stirred, letting out a tiny yawn. Emily smiled, brushing a strand of hair from their face. "We've come a long way," she whispered. "And we're going to keep going, together." Outside, Ryan and Lisa watched as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long, peaceful shadows across the city. Max lay calmly at Ryan's feet, tail flicking occasionally. They had responded to a call, acted with courage, and witnessed hope restored. For the baby, Emily, and the community, life had been forever changed by that one morning. The abandoned stroller, the loyal K9, and 2 officers who acted without hesitation. It was a reminder that even in moments of fear and uncertainty, compassion, courage, and connection could create miracles. And as the city settled into the quiet of night, Ryan thought quietly to himself, "Today we didn't just save a life. We gave a family a chance, and that's what matters most." Max barked softly in agreement, their shared understanding completing the circle of protection, hope, and love. The days following the rescue had brought a sense of calm and routine to Emily's life. The fear and uncertainty that had once dominated her every thought were slowly replaced with confidence and hope. The baby, small and fragile but resilient, thrived under her care, nourished not only by food and warmth but by the love she poured into every touch and word. Emily had begun attending a support group at the local community center. There she met other young mothers, some facing challenges similar to hers. They shared advice, offered encouragement, and listened without judgment. Emily felt a sense of belonging she had never known before, a realization that she was part of something larger than herself, a community that could help her and her baby grow and thrive. Ryan Thompson and Lisa Harper visited occasionally, often bringing Max along. The K9's calm presence had become a comforting symbol for Emily and the baby. Max would lie quietly beside the crib, ears twitching, watching over the child with a protective and patient gaze. It was as if the dog understood the journey they were all on together, the healing and the hope that had grown from a moment of fear and uncertainty. One sunny afternoon, Emily took the baby for a walk to the park. The gentle warmth of the sun, the laughter of children playing, and the fresh air filled her with a quiet joy. She noticed neighbors nodding, some waving, and others approaching to ask if they could help. The community had rallied in a way she had never expected, offering small acts of kindness that added up to a sense of security and love. As Emily pushed the stroller along the path, she noticed Ryan and Lisa sitting on a nearby bench. Max was lying beside them, head resting on Ryan's knee. Emily waved and Ryan smiled, nodding. She felt gratitude and a deep sense of connection to these people who had changed her life. "You've come a long way," Ryan called out gently. Emily smiled, glancing down at her baby. "We have," she said softly. "And we're still learning. Every day is a new step, but we're okay now." Lisa joined in, her voice warm. "That's all anyone can ask for. You're doing wonderfully. You're not alone, Emily. Remember that." Emily felt tears welling up in her eyes, not from sadness but from the weight of gratitude and relief. She had feared she might lose her baby, feared that her choices might define her forever. But now, surrounded by support, love, and care, she realized that courage could take many forms, and asking for help was one of the strongest acts of all. The baby stirred in the stroller, tiny fingers reaching out. Emily adjusted the blanket and whispered softly, "You're safe now. We're going to be okay. Together." The warmth of the moment wrapped around her, a quiet reassurance that life could be gentle and kind even after fear and hardship. Later, they returned to Emily's apartment where the baby napped peacefully. Emily tidied the small space, folding freshly washed clothes and arranging the items brought by neighbors in the community center. She felt a sense of pride in creating a safe and nurturing environment, however modest it might be. Each small act, folding clothes, preparing meals, soothing the baby, was a step in reclaiming her life and building a future filled with hope. Ryan and Lisa stopped by again in the evening. Max sat quietly by the door as the officers entered. Emily greeted them with a smile, the baby resting in her arms. "I wanted to show you," she said, holding up a small handmade mobile above the crib. "I made this for the baby. I wanted something bright and comforting." Ryan and Lisa exchanged approving smiles. "That's wonderful, Emily," Lisa said. "It's small details like this that make a big difference. It shows your love and attention. You're doing great." Max sniffed at the mobile curiously before lying back down, content. Ryan chuckled. "Even Max approves," he said. "That's high praise." As the evening wore on, Emily sat quietly rocking her baby. The apartment, once filled with anxiety and fear, now felt warm, safe, and full of possibility. She whispered stories to her child, soft words of love and comfort, and promised that no matter what, she would always protect them. Ryan and Lisa watched silently, respecting the peaceful moment. They had seen fear and uncertainty, but they had also witnessed resilience, courage, and the power of compassion. Today was proof that small acts of kindness, timely action, and unwavering dedication could change lives forever. Days turned into weeks. Emily's confidence grew, as did the baby's strength and curiosity. Each morning brought small victories, a successful feeding, a long nap, a soft coo or giggle. Emily's smile grew more genuine, her laughter more frequent, and her hope more tangible. The community remained supportive, dropping by with meals, clothes, or simply friendly conversation. Emily learned that asking for help was not shameful. It was part of being human. She embraced this newfound support, realizing that the journey of raising her child could be shared with those willing to care. Ryan and Lisa continued their patrols, but whenever they passed by Emily's street, they often stopped to check in, bringing Max along. Each visit was a reminder of the day when instincts, courage, and quick thinking had saved a life. For them, it was more than just a job. It was a testament to what could be achieved when people acted with care and compassion. One afternoon, as Emily walked the baby in the stroller through the park, she noticed other parents and children smiling and waving. Some approached to ask questions or offer advice, and she found herself engaging in conversation comfortably. She realized that her life had changed not only through the rescue, but also through the kindness of strangers who had become a support network. Sitting on a bench nearby, Ryan and Lisa watched the scene unfold. Max lay beside them, tail flicking occasionally. "Look at her," Lisa said softly. "She's thriving. And that baby, happy, safe, and growing. This is what we work for." Ryan nodded. "It's moments like these that matter. The day we found the stroller, it was tense, uncertain, and full of fear. Today it's calm, filled with hope. That's why we do this work, so lives like theirs have a chance to flourish." As the sun began to set, Emily returned home, carrying her baby into the apartment with a gentle smile. She set the child down in the crib, brushing soft hands over the tiny face. "You're safe," she whispered. "We have so much to look forward to, and we'll face it together." Later, as the night settled in, Emily sat in a chair near the crib, reflecting on the journey. She thought about the fear of yesterday, the courage it took to act, and the love that had carried her through the darkest moments. She realized that life, fragile and uncertain as it could be, also had the capacity for hope, connection, and resilience. Ryan and Lisa drove by her street one last time that night before returning to the station. Max rested in the back seat, head on Ryan's knee. "We did something good," Ryan said quietly. "Not just the rescue, but helping her find hope and strength." "That's the reward," Lisa smiled. "And the baby will grow up knowing love, safety, and care. That's what makes it all worthwhile." Max gave a soft bark, almost as if agreeing. The bond between officers, K9, mother and child, had created ripples that would continue far beyond that single day. Emily, watching over her sleeping baby, whispered a soft prayer of gratitude. She thought of Ryan, Lisa, Max, and the community that had supported her. She felt a quiet but powerful sense of connection, understanding that even in fear, help could arrive, and hope could grow. The city slept under a blanket of stars, peaceful and calm. In one small apartment, a mother held her child close, hearts intertwined in love and protection. Across town, two officers and their loyal K9 reflected on the lives they had touched, knowing that small acts of courage and compassion could change the world in ways big and small. And so, life moved forward, fragile, precious, and full of possibility. The stroller left in the fog the tiny shivers, and the quiet courage of a mother had set into motion a story of hope, love, and the enduring power of human and canine kindness. For Emily, her baby, Ryan, Lisa, and Max, the journey had begun with fear but would continue with strength, connection, and the quiet knowledge that life, even at its most uncertain, could be filled with hope.